No, we had a few technical difficulties here, so we've got that cured up now. So we'll have you teed up here in a few minutes, Ron. Thank you.
We can start if you want.
Yeah, I think it had to give me participation online.
It's working.
Yeah, well, I always gotta actually participation. Tell everybody out there how they can participate. We'll leave that to you. Okay. My apologies to any of the public out there that was trying to get in on time. We had a little technical difficulty with our streaming and our virtual participation, but we've got that cured and fixed with some excellent staff here, and we'll get going. Is there any declaration of pecuniary? I'll call the meeting to order. I'll ask if there's any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof from anyone on that committee. Can call it at any time if it does arise. And with that, because we are live streaming and have video up, I'm going to ask Ms. Noble if you can give some participation instructions to anybody out there that would be joining us. Ashley?
Thank you. And through you, Mayor Eccles, before I begin, at any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. Both member of council and staff have been briefed on the various features of the Zoom meeting software and will be raising their hands physically to speak. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to myself, West Grey Communications, and I will attempt to assist you. It should be noted for members of the public that this meeting is taking place across two meeting platforms, both on Zoom as well as being live streamed on YouTube. Public participation, if any, must be done through Zoom and cannot be done through YouTube at this time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Noble. Number 3 on our agenda is there's a zoning amendment application in for ZA 25-2024-142564 Road 35 Ayton. There are some requirements. I have a couple of announcements that are required to be made. So I'll start those now. I would like to remind everyone that the purpose of this public meeting is to receive input from the public. Every person who attends a statutory public meeting required under the Planning Act shall be given an opportunity to make representation in respect of the proposed bylaw. All submission materials for this application are available at West Grey Municipal Office during regular business hours. Recent amendments to the Planning Act by the province now limit appeal rights on zoning bylaw amendment applications to the applicant, public bodies, and specified persons who made oral or written submissions to the municipality prior to a decision being made. Specified persons generally include energy, railroad, and telecommunications providers, as well as NAV Canada. This meeting is an essential part of the decision-making process. Feedback received will be considered in the decision of West Grey Council. An explanation of how the public and agency comments factored into this decision will be included in the notice of passing of the bylaw. Where changes made to the proposed bylaw after holding of a public meeting, council will determine if any further notice will be given respecting the proposed bylaw. And the determination of council as to the giving of further notice is final and not subject to the review in any court, no matter the extent of the change made in the proposed bylaw. That's it for my required statements. Public meeting is now open. And we'll have comments and notice from our clerk. Mr. Eckensweiler, please.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles. And through you, notice that this public meeting was circulated to the prescribed bodies, posted on the subject property, and mailed to all properties within 120 meters of the subject property in accordance with the Planning Act. Anyone wishing to provide verbal comments at this public meeting is asked to sign the sign-in sheet located on the speaker's table. The personal information collected at this public meeting is collected under the authority of the Planning Act. The information collected will be used to complete the zoning bylaw amendment process and will form part of the public record. Questions about this collection should be addressed to me, the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the municipality of the corporation of the municipality of West Gray on the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, you must make a written request to the municipality of West Gray, care of the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk.
Thank you, Jamie. We'll go on then. Our overview of the planning document from Mr. Smith. David?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, as you mentioned, file ZA 25, 2024 for Lemke, submitted by Mr. Davidson on behalf of the applicants. The purpose of this application, rezoning application, is to rezone the property to satisfy a condition of provisional consent that permits the severance of a new lot of approximately 20.1 hectares and to retain a lot of approximately 20.6 hectares. The Municipality of West Gray Committee of Adjustment made a decision on the provisional consent late in 2025. The report was attached to the planning report that you have before you today. And as I mentioned, a condition of that provisional consent requires a rezoning, which is why we are here this afternoon. In terms of the property itself, there is an existing Class A licensed aggregate operation on the severed portion of the lot. The current M4 zoning that's in the West Gray bylaw does need to be modified to match the actual boundaries of the pit as it's approved by the province of Ontario. So that's included in the draft zoning bylaw amendment. There are 3 dwellings, including an existing mobile home on the retained part of the lot. The mobile home is to be removed, and the current A2 318 rural exception zoning on the property will be modified to permit only 2 dwellings and not 3. The property is designated rural land use and hazard in the County of Gray official plan with an aggregate resource area and significant woodlands constraint. In terms of natural heritage, the significant woodlands issue was reviewed by the county planning ecologist, and an environmental impact study or assessment was not required in this particular application. We circulated the application to internal agencies, our West Gray Public Works, Building and Fire. There are no concerns received from any of those internal departments. On the County of Gray official plan, the county mentioned that creation of lots is permitted and is permitted in an aggregate resource area as long as the lot areas are generally larger than 20 hectares in size, and that both of these lots in particular retained in the several would meet that particular size. As I mentioned, also the significant woodlands and other natural heritage features are on the property, but the severance would have no particular impact on them, and the county planning ecologist did not require an environmental impact study. There's a regulated area on the property in terms of Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority. The Saugeen Valley did review this application and do not have any concerns with the proposal. There have been no comments received as the date of writing this report, and since the report was uploaded to your emails from the public, we reviewed the application versus the provincial planning statement versus the County of Gray official plan. We found no particular issues with those. Those were also reviewed during the consent process when we reviewed that with the West Gray Committee of Adjustment. As I mentioned, we found no issues there at that particular time. As I mentioned, the West Gray comprehensive zoning bylaw, currently the property is zoned A2 318 rural exception with some natural environment and the M4 extractive industrial area on the property. The current A2 318 permits an existing second detached dwelling and or a mobile home in addition to the primary dwelling on the lot for 2 dwellings. In this particular case, at this time, there's 2 houses in the mobile home. So the mobile home is going, leaving us with what we ended up with in the original bylaw, which was 2 homes. And they decided to get rid of the mobile home rather than the second house. That's where we ended up with there. The severed lots will have split zoning, both A2 and the M4. As I mentioned, the M4 is being modified to match the provincial lines for the aggregate operation and to match the county OP lines for the aggregate operation. In terms of other things that may be going on with the A2 zone, the severed, we are within within somewhat close proximity of an existing aggregate operation. The zoning bylaw would require allow a new dwelling to be built on that piece of the property, but overall, I believe there's is enough room so that aggregate operation that exists wouldn't have any particular issues. There's no changes to the natural environment zone, and overall, we find the application acceptable. And at the recommendation and consideration of staff report Z25/2024, the council directs staff to bring forward a bylaw to authorize the passing of a zoning bylaw amendment as it relates to the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Smith, for that. At this time, I'd ask for comments from the applicant. Do we have the applicant online, Ashley? There's Mr. Davidson. Ron,
Yes.
have you got any comments? Please, floor is yours. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and sorry to interrupt you there. Yeah, so I represent both the owners, which is the Mr. and Mrs. Lemke, as well as Clark Brothers Contracting. And as I said at the meeting a couple of weeks ago, when council dealt with the zoning bylaw amendment and approved it, the Clark Brothers are interested in the west half of the property. The Lemkes themselves are not able to work the pit anymore. They're at the age where actually they're not even living on the site anymore. So the Clark Brothers would like to take possession, but they don't want to buy the house. They just want to buy the westerly 50 acres or 20 hectares. So it's working out well for everybody. As David said, this zoning bylaw amendment, it's to put the M4 zone where it should be in accordance with the license, so that the pit itself is where it's supposed to be. It follows the license precisely. Somewhere over the years, the West Grey zoning mapping got mixed up a little bit and shifted that polygon, if you will, that we call the M4 zone boundary. So we're correcting that. And then, as David indicated, we're also removing the mobile home from the list of permitted uses in this site-specific zone. To be clear, the mobile home on the site is not habitable and it should be removed. And on that note, the owner is in the process of having it removed. When I spoke to the owner's daughter about a month ago, she had someone lined up. It's even possible that they've already done the work, but I can't confirm that. And other than that, yes, the bylaw conforms with the official plan and is consistent with the provincial planning statement, which is what council has to be concerned with. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's my presentation.
Thank you very much, Ron. At this time, I would ask if there is any comments from the public. And we do not have anybody in the chambers at this point in time. And is there anybody online, Ashley? No? Okay. I'll give it to now, and we still have nobody, so very good. No comments from anybody from the public on this. We've heard from the applicant. We've heard from our planner. How would the committee like to go deal with this? Councillor Townsend. Doug?
There we go. I would like to move the recommendation as presented by the planner's report.
Thank you. So moved by Doug. Do we have a seconder for this one? Councillor New, Joyce. All right. To approve the recommendation of staff on this application for ZA 25/2024. And to bring the bylaw forward. Any further discussion or comments on the motion? Then I will call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, that one is carried. All right. Anything further on this one? That should be it. The bylaw recommending to come forward. Thank you, Mr. Davidson, for your comments on this. And Mr. Smith. And if that's it for that one, then let us move on to the next application before us. Zoning bylaw amendment ZA 29/2024, 403-741 Gray Road 4. I declare the public meeting open. And Ms. Noble, if you can give anybody that is participating or hopefully participating online, their instructions for the online virtual portion. Ashley?
As noted at the opening of the meeting, public participation must be done through Zoom. Members of the public joining virtually wishing to participate in this portion of the meeting may do so in one of two ways. If you have joined via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, *9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to myself, Communications Coordinator Ashley Noble, either stating that you would like to speak or what you would like read into the record on your behalf.
Thank you, Ashley. I have some official announcements to make. I would like to remind everyone that the purpose of this public meeting is to receive input from the public. Every person who attends a statutory public meeting required under the Planning Act shall be given an opportunity to make representation in respect of the proposed bylaw. All submission materials for this application are available at the West Grey Municipal Office during regular business hours. Recent amendments to the Planning Act by the province now limit the appeal rights on zoning bylaw amendment applications to the applicant, public bodies, or specified persons who made oral or written submissions to the municipality prior to a decision being made. Specified persons generally include energy, railroad, and telecommunications providers, as well as NAV Canada. This meeting is an essential part of the decision-making process. Feedback received will be considered in the decision of West Grey Council. An explanation of how the public and agency comments factored into the decision will be included in the notice of passing of the bylaw. Were changes made in the proposed bylaw after the holding of a public meeting, council will determine if any further notice will be given respecting the proposed bylaw, and the determination of council as to the giving of further notice is final and not subject to the review in any court, no matter the extent of the changes made in the proposed bylaw meeting. It brings us down then to some statutory comments from the clerk. Mr. Ackensweber.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles. Notice of this public meeting was circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. Anyone wishing to provide verbal comments at this public meeting is asked to sign the sign-in sheet located on the speaker's table. The personal information collected at this public meeting is collected under the authority of the Planning Act. The information collected will be used to complete the zoning bylaw amendment process and will form part of the public record. Questions about this collection should be addressed to me, the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Corporation of the Municipality of West Grey and the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, you must make a written request to the Municipality of West Grey, care of the Director of Legislative Services / Clerk.
Thank you, Jamie. With that, we can move forward. Mr. Smith, you have an overview and a few comments on this one. David, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you mentioned, the application is at 8/29/2024 for Z Care Quest Planning Consultants. Purpose of the application is to zone a property in advance of a submitted application for consent. The application proposes the creation of a new 2.03 hectare lot and to retain a lot of approximately 59 hectares. Within your package, if you could go down to page 20 of 26, 21, we'll take a quick look at the zoning amendment. I don't believe we can bring it up, right? No. All right. We're going to try. All right. Anyways, within your package, the zoning schedule is included within it. And the A2533 within your package is the area to be zoned. That's also the area subject to the consent application that has been submitted. We usually bring you the consent application to the Committee of Adjustment prior to zoning, but it really doesn't matter in this particular case also, since we didn't have a January Committee of Adjustment meeting. We, keep things moving. We brought forward you the zoning. It's neither one nor the other in terms of its process or in terms of its order. However, the A2533 is the portion of the property to be zoned and is the area that's subject to the consent application that would be brought forward to the Committee of Adjustment. The aerial view in your package. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Can we go on the next page? The aerial view is on the far left-hand side of the screen is lot 13, concession 1. That is the original Crown lot. That is the one that is subject to policies under the county official plan, although the overall parcel is a lot larger than just that Crown lot. The other portion that's interesting and that's important to take a look at, as you can see, right along County Road 4 is a wooded area that runs from one edge of Lot 13 to the other on the east to the west side, and that is part of the county's comments in terms of that being within significant woodlands. We go to the next page, please. The entire yellow area is, of course, the lot in question that is all one parcel and made up of the three various lot 13, part lot 14, and part lot 15, giving us the total area. Next page, please. Actually, let's go back up. You maybe one ahead of me. And one more back. Okay. Next page. We already did that one. This is the County of Gray official plan schedule, Appendix B. This shows in green, the significant woodlands layer from that official plan. We've had a discussion about significant woodlands on a number of other occasions and some of the county's comments on that. And as I mentioned, you can see the entire bottom portion, southern portion of lot 13 where the severance is going to be is partly within the significant woodlands. There is enough area proposed within the severance to build outside of that, and that is part of our discussion this afternoon in terms of the zoning. Next page, please. The aggregates layer from the county official plan does cover a large portion of the overall parcel, but does not cover the area for the zoning. Next. Next. And again, the original crown lot has not been severed at this time. All right, that's good. Thank you. As I mentioned, the zoning will cover the 2.03 hectare lot. Properties designated rural and hazard within the Gray official plan with aggregate resource area, significant woodlands, and other wetland constraints. Property is zoned A2 rural and natural environment, and the relief for zoning is required for lot area minimum for the proposed severed lot, and the retained lot would meet the regulations of the West Gray zoning bylaw. Gray County ecologist is the opinion that an environmental impact study is not required. There is sufficient land outside of the significant woodlands constraint on the severed portion of the portion to be severed to construct a dwelling. We circulated the application internally to Public Works, Building, and Fire. There are no concerns with West Gray agencies, internal agencies. County of Gray, the staff's opinion that the potential impact to natural heritage will be negligible, provided that any native tree species above 10 centimeters in diameter breast height are replanted at a 1:2 compensation ratio, that tree clearing does not occur between April 1st to October 31st in any given year, and that the new entrance on the new severed lot must have a 150-meter separation distance from any other entrances on the county road and must maintain a clear sight distance of 175 meters. Other than that, the Gray County staff have no concerns with the application. Woonsogging Valley Conservation also do not have any comments or concerns with the application. So the County of Gray comments are basically from two departments. One is from transportation, giving us their distances for the driveways and their sight line. This was reviewed by them already, and it shouldn't be a problem. Otherwise, they wouldn't be saying that they are pretty much in agreement with it. The ecologist comments are in relationship to the need to construct a driveway through the significant woodlands and to get to that portion of the lots that need to be created that's outside of the significant woodlands. So they want a tree compensation plan for every tree species above 10 centimeters to be replanted at a 1:2 ratio, and that no tree clearing can occur between April 1st and October 31st in a year. We'll come back to that in a minute. Provincial planning statement, we reviewed the application against the PPS 2024. As of October 24, 2024, the new provincial planning statement came into place. We reviewed policy 2.6 in terms of development within a rural area, policy 415 in relationship to natural heritage features, and policy 455 in relationship to mineral or aggregate resources. Overall, we didn't find any issues with the application for the zoning in regards to provincial planning statement. In terms of the County of Gray official plan, the lot is again designated rural and hazard. There is no development proposed within the hazard. The significant woodlands constraint does cover the front portion of the severed portion, and significant woodlands and other wetland constraints are parts of the retained, but it's that severed or zoning area that we're have a concern with. The policy 5424 of the Gray official plan does allow for this type of severance overall, as long as the severed portion is larger than 20 hectares because of the aggregate resource area. It also has a restriction or a maximum number of severances that can occur on a original crown lot. So in this particular case, the original crown lot is crown lot 13, concession 1 NDR. It has never been severed, which means it is eligible for severance, and therefore the creation of one new lot would meet the county official plan lot density limits. Section 543(1) of the rural policies requires a lot to be at least 0.8 hectares in size and have a maximum of 1:3 ratio in terms of lot frontage to depth. The lot will meet that. Section 5435 consent policies also requires it to meet MDS. There is, excuse me, the one livestock facility that is in the area does meet the livestock, the MDS requirement for that. Policy 741 is where we hit the significant woodlands policy. Does require an environmental impact study when we are within 120 meters. In this particular case, the development itself was not going to have an impact on it on the future. However, a new driveway approximately 110 meters in length will need to be cut through the existing woodlands on the severed lot. Based on the need for the new driveway to be located within the significant woodlands, the county planning ecologist recommends that the consent, when we get to that portion, include a condition that any native tree species 10 centimeters above be replanted at a 1 to 2%, 1 to 2 compensation ratio, and that tree clearing does not occur between April 1st and October 31st. Now, this time, the County of Gray is in the preliminary stages of the development of an ecological offsetting policy in accordance with Policy 7, Natural Gate Gray of the Gray official plan. So Policy 7 and the official plan says that the county is going to develop an ecological offsetting policy. They haven't developed it yet. A report seeking county council's direction on this was brought forward in April of 2024. In September 2024, county planning began the process of seeking feedback on a potential ecological offsetting policy. As my opinion is that until such time as an ecological offsetting policy is completed and improved if required by Gray County Council, that the tree compensation requirement recommended by the county planning ecologist not be included in either the zoning or when I get back to the consent with you later on at that time. But there is a but included in my report to you.
There always is in planning.
We do recommend that the site-specific zoning require new buildings and structures to be constructed outside of the significant woodlands portion on the severed lot. We can do that. There's enough room to do that. We're not going to zone it to natural environment or anything. We're going to leave it zoned as A2 or A2 special that's going to come up, but we can push the house as in a minimum front yard setback that's outside of the significant woodlands. And we can, quote unquote, preserve that portion of it from the house. We're trying to meet to maybe a little bit halfway. It's a little bit funky, but we can do that. The tree offsetting policy, no, we can't see how that's going to work at the moment. Once the county has finished their offsetting policy and finished their consultation with county council and with the municipalities, we'll see how that moves forward at that time. But right now, putting that kind of policy into place is really, believe it or not easy. There's been suggested, for example, the trees could be purchased from the Conservation Authority, that the Conservation Authority itself could plant trees if they were paid. And the answer to that is yes. We can't guarantee the trees are even going to be planted within West Gray, let alone the County of Gray, considering the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority covers multiple areas, and they don't necessarily always have properties within West Gray or County of Gray to plant on. So how long would we wait? Yeah, we don't know that. This issue isn't with the Conservation Authority. Okay, this issue is with how we can get a policy such as compensation put into place that actually works, and that is our concern at the moment. The province of Ontario, through the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, had also put forward a one-time and ecological offsetting policy that was not brought forward by the province. And part of the concerns from the agricultural community was they didn't want to see, for example, agricultural land then starting to take up in order to offset for trees. So needs some work, in other words, in order to make it, the concept is certainly interesting and possibly viable, but we don't want to lose. But how it comes to play is the question that is missing at the moment. And just tossing a 2-for-1 compensation on trees over 10 centimeters in diameter without knowing how it's going to work, we don't think is viable at this particular time. Overall, I think that the zoning is proposed by the planning department with the front yard setback, I think is suitable for this particular application. In terms of, again, the zoning, we will have a special zone on the property. A2533 would be on the property, and it would recognize a reduced lot area of 2.053 hectares and a minimum front yard of about 113 meters within that. There are no other changes to the natural environment, and the retained lot in this particular case would meet other regulations of the A2. Overall, we find the application to be acceptable. We recommend that in consideration of staff report ZA 29/2024 Z request of planning, the council directs staff to bring forward a bylaw to amend the bylaw as it relates to the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. I'll ask, do we have anyone from the applicant online? I do see one individual. And any comments that you have at this point in time?
Good afternoon, Mayor Eccles. I'm Yanni Brewer for Cresta Planning Consultants, and I am representing the landowners, Mr. and Mrs. Say, this afternoon. Thank you so much for Mr. Smith for that very decent and thorough rundown of the application that was submitted and is before council today. Our office, as well as the clients, have reviewed the staff report brought forth, and we have no concerns at this point and can concur with staff's recommendation. So thank you. That is all from our side.
Thank you very much. I'll ask Ashley, is there anyone from the public outside that wants to make comment? Nobody on virtually? And there is no one here in the council chambers at this point in time to make anything. How would the committee like to deal with this? There is a recommendation there. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Eccles. I would move the recommendation is brought forward by Planner Smith. Consideration of staff report E 29/2024. Zay council direct staff bring forward a bylaw to amend bylaw 37-2006 as it relates to ZA 29/2024.
Thank you very much, Tom. Seconder, Councillor Hutchison. Doug? The recommendations on the floor. Any comments, questions at this point in time? Seeing none, then I'll call the question as it is put forward, the recommendation. Staff report ZA 29/2024. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Thank you very much. So we'll be looking forward to that's preparation of the bylaw for that zoning amendment. And with that, that's all that we have at this point in time. Planning, Jamie, David, we're good. I'll declare the public meeting closed, and we have met all the business that was on the agenda. So I am going to declare an adjournment to the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for your participation.